Recorded.
Okay.
And nominate.
Check. There we go. Now we're good. Just because you could hear me, Carl. Good evening. I will call this meeting of the Littleton Licensing Authority for April 24th to order. We're going to work a little bit out of order tonight. I'll do a quick roll call, and then we are going to do nominations for a new chair and a new vice chair. And once we've done that, then I will turn the meeting over to the new chair, and we will proceed with our regular business. Authority Member Amon.
Present.
Authority Member Buchanan.
Here.
Authority Member Fallenweider.
Present.
Authority Member Lavier.
Present.
Authority Member Schock.
Here.
Authority Member Webb. We do have a quorum. At this time, I will accept nominations for the role of Licensing Authority Chair. I do want to remind everybody that you don't have to be present to be nominated, and it is okay to self-nominate.
I would like to nominate Tim Lavier.
I second.
Okay, we don't need a second, it's just nominations. Are there any other nominations? Okay, all in favor of Authority Member Lavier serving as Authority Member Chair signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed? Congratulations.
Thank you. Notice how we didn't give you a chance.
At this time, let's go ahead and do nominations for Vice Chair. Do I have any nominations for Vice Chair?
I'd like to nominate Pete Webb.
Do I have any other nominations? All those in favor of Authority Member Webb serving as Vice Chair signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed? See what happens when you don't come to a meeting, you get voluntold that you're the Vice Chair. Okay, at this time, I will turn the meeting over to Authority Chair Lavier.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, sir.
Well, thank you. All right. This meeting of the Littleton Licensing Authority will come to order. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Turn on my mic again. Chair Lavier.
Here.
Vice Chair Webb. Authority Member Amon.
Here.
Authority Member Buchanan.
Here.
Authority Member Fallenweider.
Here.
Authority Member Schock.
Here.
We do have a quorum.
All right, great. Will you all please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next, we have an agenda, and I move to approve the agenda as presented. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Next on the agenda is certification of the minutes. Are there any changes, or do I have a motion?
Motion to accept the video as the minutes?
Not the video, the action minutes, Kenny.
The action minutes, okay.
I will second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Great. Item number 5 on the agenda is public comments. If you are here to make public comment not related to anything that is currently on the agenda, future items, you would like to step forward, you may. There's none signed up. Please step forward.
Good evening, Licensing Authority. My name is Pam Chadbourne. Welcome to the new folks. I have a couple procedural requests, and that is that when there's a motion and a second, I would like to request the chair to state who made the motion and who made the second for the record. I'm making that to all the boards and commissions, so don't feel singled out. Also, when there is a vote and you ask for ayes, and maybe everybody says aye, but I think it's good to ask for nays. For the record, again, ask for anybody who's opposed and give them a chance to say something for the record. And I guess that's all I wanted to ask. Like I say, I'm asking every board and commission, so thank you.
That's good feedback. Thank you. Are there any other members of the public that would like to speak? Seeing none, we will move on to item number 6, liquor license application hearings. 6A is a resolution of the Littleton Licensing Authority approving a new liquor license application for MS Liquor LLC, doing business as MS Liquor, 250 East Dry Creek Road, Unit B in Littleton, Colorado. Clerk, do we enter exhibits at this point?
The exhibits are already entered as part of the packet, so we don't need to do that. We do need to swear in anyone who is not an attorney.
All right. We have the licensee, we have an attorney, and we have, I recognize our petitioner, and we have the licensee, correct? Anyone who's not an attorney, please step forward and state your name into the microphone clearly.
Good evening.
Your name?
Manjit Singh.
Ajit Singh? And
Yes, Manjit Singh.
Ajit Singh. Okay. And your petitioner?
Yes.
You have her speak in the microphone.
Carol Johnson for Esquire Petitioning Services.
Thank you, Carol. Can you please both raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give before this authority is truthful? Thank you. All right. Would you like to identify yourself and for the
Yes.
record?
My name is Carl Ream. My Colorado bar registration number is 19397, and I'm counsel for the corporate applicant, MS Liquor LLC.
Thank you. You have a presentation you'd like to go over?
Yes. The first witness that I'm going to call is Ms. Carol Johnson from Esquire Petitioning Services. Good evening, Ms. Johnson.
Good evening.
Were you hired by my company to do a needs and desires survey for MS Liquor LLC?
Yes, we were.
Okay. And can you tell us your methodology of how you did this survey and the results?
Certainly. We always meet at the location and review the type of license and anything else pertinent with the application. Our team's been together for quite a while, so they know to stay neutral with it and just state the facts and answer questions that they can. We did this, the businesses in the area directly around it and down in the two shopping centers north and south of Mineral, which are the closest businesses. We did 3 different residential areas, 2 on the east side of Broadway and 1 large area on the west side of Broadway. That resulted in 542 door knocks, of which 133 people signed the petition, 91 declined, 14 were ineligible, and 312 did not respond to the door. Of that, we had 86 residents and 34 business owners or managers for 120 in support for 90.2%. We had 11 residents and 2 business owners or managers for 13 in opposition to 9.8% for the 133 total. However, when we looked at the reasons for the opposition, 5 stated that they did not drink alcohol. 1 felt there was sufficient number of outlets. 2 were concerned about traffic, and 5 were other responses. 2 of those 5 were that there was no reason given. One was that they didn't want it in their neighborhood, and one said there was already too much trouble around there. So those are not reasons that can be considered in denying the license. So in the final needs and analysis of the license petitioning, we had 120 in support for 99.2%, and one, which was the one who said there were sufficient number of outlets for 0.8%, for 121 applicable signatures. And I would be more than glad to answer any questions.
I would turn Ms. Johnson over to the board to any further inquiries.
Thank you. Questions from the board for Ms. Johnson on her petition endeavors?
Sure.
Yeah.
So how do we determine, and maybe this is a little bit broader question, what is sufficient outreach? That's for us to determine, right, as a board. We're determining whether this constitutes a sufficient outreach to the neighborhood. And it's not a number situation, it's the maps we've been provided, et cetera. Okay. Sorry, this is my first time, so I'm trying to figure that
No problem.
out.
We always start at the location and try to radiate out in all 4 directions if there are available residents and businesses. Sometimes we're restricted on that 4-quadrant location just because of
Got it.
what is presented to us on the map, when we get there.
Okay.
Just a comment, it's a good question.
Yeah.
We notice where the petitions are served, and we have commented in the past if it's, we like to see if it's close to the area where the business is actually located. Sometimes that's tough to do for them, depending on how it's located, but we do, that's one thing.
Just in general, I may make a comment that your map that are presented to us over the years have been one of the larger areas that has been presented to us. We very seldom get to the extremes of it because we do feel the closest people are the most affected. A number of the people have been reducing it down. Very few are only a mile radius, usually in a circle. Some are a mile square, north, south, east, west streets presented to us, and there are a few that have even gone to a half mile. But we do what is presented to us and try to do it to the best of our ability.
Right. Chairman. Another question, it may again be for this is being requested for someone who has a sublease, doesn't own the site. Is a license being issued to the business or to the site location?
The license is issued to the business. It's specific to the business at that site location.
Okay.
Right? So that's how that works.
Great.
They have to have possession of the premises either by deed, lease, or sublease.
And if the business is bought or acquired by somebody new, as long as they're leaving the same title, or how does that work?
Are you talking about the property or the business?
No, I mean the business.
So the licensee could sell his business and transfer the license if the new owner were able to secure a lease at the same location.
Okay.
We license the square footage.
Got it.
So if they want to increase the square footage, they have to come back and ask.
Okay. One more question, I'm sorry.
Please.
And this is for the petitioner. What procedures do we have in place in that business for avoiding serving minors? So what is the procedure? And is that something I can ask?
That would not, I'm sorry, Carol, that would not be for the petitioner. That would be for the licensee, the applicant.
Sorry, the applicant.
Yeah, Carol, I was reviewing your petition area. I did appreciate that you did get to the nearest homes to that license location. So that's a good practice that I do like to see continue.
Okay, fine, thank you.
Any other questions for the petitioner? Thank you.
My second witness is Mr. Manjit Singh, who is the managing member for MS Liquor LLC.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Would you please make sure that you do speak into the microphone, since we are broadcasting and there are people at home?
Yes. Are we on community TV?
Yes, we are.
Oh, okay. Good evening, Mr. Singh.
Good evening, sir.
Mr. Singh, can you tell us how you are associated with MS Liquor LLC?
MS Liquor LLC. I am the liquor.
Can you speak into the microphone more?
Okay. I am the MS LLC Liquor. Do you ask me to address first?
Are you managing member of
Yes.
the company?
Yes.
Okay. And are there any other members except yourself?
No, just me.
Okay. And what is the address for MS Liquor
two-
that you've applied
two-
this license?
250 East Dry Creek, Linton, Colorado.
And
Unit B.
now, you're also the owner of the convenience store located there too, are you not?
Yes.
Okay. And when you decided to apply for this liquor license, you actually split the property so that half of it is convenience store and half of it is liquor store, is that right?
Yes.
Now, does the liquor store and the convenience store have separate entrances?
Yes.
And do they also have separate cash registers?
Yes.
And is it your proposal that you would have basically two employees, one for the convenience store and one for the liquor store?
Yes.
Now, since you're going to be doing both the convenience store business, is that owned by a separate company than MS Liquor?
There's two companies.
Okay. And do you have a lease for the liquor store portion?
Yes, 5-year lease.
And you're not currently doing any liquor store business there now, are you?
Not yet.
And if you were to get this license approved tonight, when do you think you might open for business?
It take maybe 40 to 45 days.
Do you have employees that you plan to hire for the liquor store?
Yes.
And approximately how many employees will be working at the liquor store?
3 employees, 1 part-time.
And are all of the employees going to be over 21 years old?
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about your experience in the retail liquor business?
I have a liquor business of more than 10 years.
And where is that liquor store now?
I have one is 1810 East Bridge Street, Brighton, Colorado, 80601.
And during the time you've owned that liquor store, have you yourself ever gotten any liquor violations?
No.
Now, you did, at the store, you did have an employee that got a violation.
Yeah, my employees have.
And what happened to that employee?
Employee, he have 1 violation, but I terminate to fire to him.
Now, will you have the same policy about any employee who has a liquor violation at this new store?
Yeah, I have to train, get the class first, tips class, then we can hire to anyone who group for the class, then we hire them.
And if they should get a ticket, will you terminate their employment immediately?
Yes.
Other than the, when you hire employees, do you ask them for references?
Yes, I asked to first, he can provide me a background check and criminal history check.
Now, since you've been in the liquor business for a while, you're familiar with the Colorado Liquor Code book, right?
Yes, I had to read the book.
Okay. So how old does somebody have to be in order to purchase alcohol?
21.
And can you ever sell alcohol to anybody that looks like they're drunk?
Never.
How do you tell when somebody is drunk?
So I have to first looking his face. If face is red, he not walk straight, so he talk like liquor. So I not sell to him, please go come back.
And how do you check to make sure somebody is at least 21 years old?
I have checked the ID.
Do you know what the 6 acceptable forms of ID are?
First things, Colorado drive license and passport and military ID, and 3 passport ID, passport and license, and military ID, and issued by INS, like a green card.
Now, if, will you have a policy about who you ask identification from?
Under 35, we ask for ID.
Okay. Do you know where you're supposed to buy all of the alcohol inventories?
Yes, I have to buy a wholesale for liquor license.
Okay. So the wholesaler has to be licensed?
Licensed, yes.
Correct. Okay. And where will you keep all the financial records for your business?
Inside store.
Inside that store?
Store, yes, yeah.
How can you tell if somebody is, you think somebody is trying to buy alcohol for a minor?
So first thing I ask to ID. So if they don't have ID, and we're not selling anything if they don't have ID.
And if you see people exchanging money inside the store, will you at least ask where the alcohol will be going?
I have to ask first who you buy the liquor. If they all together, we ask both ID. Show me ID, then we can sell to you.
And what hours will your store be open for business?
Like 8 to 10 p.m., 8 a.m. to 10 p.m., Monday to Thursday. Friday, maybe 8 to 11 p.m.
Now, what hour is the convenience store open?
7 o'clock
In the morning?
morning.
Okay, till what time?
Until, right now I open at 8 o'clock, 7 to 8 o'clock.
Okay. So what time do you close the convenience store?
8 o'clock.
Okay,
Right
8
now.
in the evening?
Yes, right now. 7 p.m. to 8 p.m.
So you think the liquor store will be operating longer hours than the
Yes.
convenience store?
Yes.
Okay. And how will you make sure that people who come in for the convenience store or people who come in from the liquor store don't try to purchase the alcohol at the convenience store side?
So I have to watching just selling for the liquor side, and the C store, if they buy, we can ring it separately for the C store.
Do you think you have the good moral character required to hold a liquor license?
Yes, yes,
And are you asking this board to approve your application tonight?
yes.
Thank you. I'd have no further questions, and I would turn this witness over to the board for further inquiry.
Yes, we will take that opportunity. Questions, Michael?
Yeah, could we go over the hours of operation again? I heard Monday through Thursday, 8 to 10 p.m.,
8 a.m. to 10 p.m.
and then Friday and Saturday?
Friday, 10 a.m. to 11 p.m.
And then Saturdays, or?
Friday, Saturday, Sunday is the same time, 8 to 10.
And how many employees are going to be in there at one time?
One employee for each shift for the liquor store and one employee for C store.
And can my understanding is the stores are separate. You can't go from one side to the other
No, we
on
had
the
to
inside. You have to
do-
go outside, a separate entrance.
It's happening, yeah, 2 employees for same time.
Is there a wall dividing the two?
Yeah, I have to do before we got the license after that.
And there's not an open or a pass-through?
Like-
There's not a pass-through, open air?
No, I had to put the pencil.
We're going to have the liquor store fenced off from the convenience store side. They will be able to go from the convenience store to the liquor store, but then they've got to go out and come in through the appropriate entrance.
So, let me find my,
Here,
there we go.
because it looks like.
So you're saying there is access to the liquor store from the convenience store, but not the other way around?
Pardon, can you say that again?
Did you say there was access to the liquor store from the convenience store?
That's correct.
So if you're a convenience store customer, you can go into the liquor store, but then you have to leave the liquor store through the front entrance to
Right.
to go back to the convenience store if you wanted to.
That's correct, right.
For this question for the city clerk, does that jive with the city ordinances? Or
This has more to do with state statute than it does city ordinances. This is one way that stores have been able to carry full liquor without being a liquor licensed drugstore like Safeway. It just requires that there be a separate POS system, if at all possible, for the sale of liquor versus regular store items, and that the liquor store portion be somehow cordoned off separate from the regular store. I think that they're taking it one step further by having the extra entrance. There are some stores that have a corner in the back that just has like a little waist-high gate that you go through to get into the liquor store.
Yeah, I think I've seen that with maybe Sam's Club.
Right.
So my understanding is there's a separate point of sale POS for the liquor store and for the convenience store. They have separate systems?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And what training will you offer for your employees?
Say again?
What kind of training are you going to have for your
I
employees?
had trip class, got the class first for they know so who is selling liquor and not selling for the minor check ID all the time. Anyone become like under 35 year, so you have to check all that.
And you'll deliver that training yourself, or will you hire someone to come in and certify them for tips training?
I have to go like a special class.
Will these employees be family members? Will they be members of the community?
All employees of that. So they can go with something, actually Brighton have like a police department. So I have to go over there, got the class for 2 hours. So they can get the class first of the 2 hours.
I think he was asking about your employees. Are you going to hire just your family members?
No,
or
I can hire for
Anybody?
Anybody.
And so this is your second location. You still have your Brighton
Yes.
location, correct?
Yes,
And then you have a 3-2 license, which is
Yes.
a gas station,
yes.
or
In
is that correct?
Fullerton.
And per the rule changes a couple years ago, they can have up to 2 now, and in a couple years, they can even get to 3 locations, correct? Okay. Any questions from other?
That was my question. The convenience store does sell beer?
No here,
Not this one.
Not at this one?
not this one.
So you do not have a license to sell beer at the convenience store?
Not here.
All right. If they're in, yeah,
I actually do have a question. So your other liquor store that you have up in, is it in Brighton?
Brighton.
Yes.
Is it normal to have one employee working there by themselves?
Actually, there are 2 employees. One is a C-store, one is a liquor store.
Okay. Any kind of loss prevention plan do you have? Can someone get in and swipe a 6-pack and run out the door, or how do you deal with that with just one employee?
No, I have 2 employees there.
Okay, but you're going to have one at this location.
Yeah, this location we have two. I can hire one for liquor, one is C-store. Two
One
employees.
at each?
Yeah, one each.
Yeah.
Will there be one person, will there be times where there is only one employee on staff at a time, or will you always have 2 or more?
Yeah, always we have one hire for the part-time. So 2 is always full-time for like 8-hour shift.
To clarify that, there will always be one employee at the liquor store and one employee at the convenience store. So we're not going to require an employee to work both cash registers.
Any other questions?
But your liquor store is open later than your convenience store by 2 hours? So
Yeah.
does that mean you're still then going to have one person at the liquor store and then none on the other side?
No, right now I have only for I close to early 8 o'clock. And after that, when you got the license, so we can close for same time.
So they are going to close at the same time?
Same time after that,
Okay.
when you got the license.
Right, because the hours, we were trying to figure out how so the liquor store and the convenience store are going to close at the same time?
Yeah, same time
Okay.
after that.
Other questions from the authority? All right, seeing none, thank you.
That concludes our presentation. I would just state that I believe we've met our burden of the needs and desires for this neighborhood, and we've demonstrated that Mr. Singh is of good moral character and somebody that, according to the rules and regulations, can hold a liquor license, and we would respectfully ask this board to approve this application. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. At this time, you may have a seat. I will call for comments from the public. Is that correct?
Can we officially open the public hearing with a time?
At this time, we will open the public hearing at 7 o'clock. Are there any comments from the public in approval or denial of this license, in support or opposition? Seeing none, we will close the public hearing at 7 o'clock. Is there a motion?
Yeah, I would ask that you call for a motion in a second before you have further discussion.
Correct. Our order of operation is that we do put a motion on the table before we have any discussion about the motion.
I move that the public hearing be closed and the resolution of the Littleton Licensing Authority be approved, which grants MS Liquor LLC, doing business as MS Liquor, 250 East Dry Creek Road, Unit B, Littleton, Colorado, a retail liquor store liquor license contingent upon approval by the Colorado Liquor Enforcement Division and based upon the following findings of fact. 1, that notice of the hearing was properly posted and published. 2, that the applicant has possession of the premises and the premises are suitable for the requested license. 3, that the needs of the neighborhood are not now being met. 4, that it is the desire of the adult inhabitants of the neighborhood that the license be issued. 5, existing similar liquor license in the designated neighborhood are not adequate. And 6, the applicant is of good moral character, record, and reputation.
A second?
We have a motion from Authority Member Schock for approval. We have a second from Authority Member
Vollenweider. Tobin.
So I'm going to have to read your name a couple times
That's
before I
fine.
get it straight. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, I will have the clerk pull the authority.
Chair Lavier,
Yes.
Authority Member Amon,
Yes.
Authority Member Buchanan,
Yes.
Authority Member Vollenweider,
Aye.
Authority Member Schock.
Yes.
The vote is 5 in favor. The motion carries. Congratulations.
Congratulations. Good luck to you.
Congratulations. Moving on, the next item on the agenda is item 6B, a licensing authority resolution approving a new liquor license application for Bacon Restaurant Denver LLC, doing business as Bacon Social House, 2100 West Littleton Boulevard, Suite B, Littleton, Colorado. Is there a member from the, representative from the business? Would you like to introduce yourself first? Speak to the microphone.
Good evening, John Jennings, attorney on behalf of Bacon Social Restaurant, and with me is Thomas Wilson, registered manager, and Carol Johnson, who you heard from regarding petitions.
Carol, we've already sworn you in. Tom, will you please step to the mic and state your name?
Thomas Wilson, sorry,
No worries.
first hearing. Thomas Wilson.
Will you raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give before this authority is truthful?
Yes.
Thank you. John, would you like to present? This is your show.
Good evening, thank you. Carol, would you like to tell us about the petitions? For the record, could you please state and spell your name?
Yes, Carol Johnson, Johnsson for Esquire Petitioning Services.
Thank you, Carol.
And Ms. Johnson, did you conduct petitions regarding the application of Bacon Social?
Yes, we did.
Can you tell us about the methodology and then the results that you reached?
Yes, we met close to this location. They being under construction, I think they met on the street beside it, reviewed the type of license. They're familiar with their other location. And we proceeded to cover the business areas from the location east to Windermere and did the residential locations in several different areas, both north and south of Littleton Boulevard, once again from Santa Fe to Windermere. That resulted in 507 door knocks, of which 139 people signed the petition, 52 declined, 29 were ineligible, and 240 did not respond to the door. Of that, we had 112 residents and 24 business owners or managers for 136, in support for 97.8%. 3 residents and 0 business owners or managers were in opposition for 2.2% for the 139. Of that, reasons for signing in opposition, 2 did not drink alcohol, and 1 was an other or no reason, and they were concerned about parking. So that is not something that can be addressed in the denial. So the results are 136 in support for 100%. And once again, I would answer any questions.
Thank you, Ms. Johnson. Would you mind repeating just the grand total of those in support and then those opposed?
Yes, 136 in support and 0 in opposition for 136 or 100%.
Thank you.
Are there any questions for this witness from the authority?
I just reiterate what you said earlier. I appreciate you went around the neighborhood around here. This area, there was a lot of opposition to that complex going in there, so gave a chance for those people to speak up a little bit because they're going to be paying
They
attention.
obviously realize, of course, that the complex is there and it's going to be there, and so they might as well take advantage of the amenities. And we really had, there were some people who I spoke to personally when I was doing the businesses, and the first portion of the residents that I did were familiar with their other location, and we tried to emphasize that it was local ownership from another location. And as you can see, we had next to no opposition out of that many people surveyed. Any other questions? Yep.
Moving on, your next witness.
Thank you.
Be sure to speak into the mic as clearly as you can.
Thank you. Mr. Wilson, so I'll ask you some questions about your background and then the plans for this license, and then I'll turn it over to further questions. Sure. So, Mr. Wilson, can you tell us what your role is with this business, Bacon Social?
Yeah, I'm the Director of Operations.
Okay. And are you the registered manager on this liquor license application?
Yes.
Okay. How long have you worked with Bacon Social?
Since August of 2018.
And tell us a little bit about this business. I think it was alluded to that there's another location. Tell us what Bacon Social is.
Correct. It's a full-service restaurant. We specialize in brunch as well as moving the brand more towards dinner. So we're a community restaurant, and I think that's it.
Okay. And does Bacon currently operate a similar restaurant in the city of Denver?
Yes, we're in the Sunnyside neighborhood.
Okay. About how long has that been open?
2015, so about 3.5 years.
Okay. And so now you're seeking to add another restaurant in Littleton with a similar concept?
Correct.
Okay. In that time operating up in Denver, has Bacon Social ever been issued a liquor license violation?
Yes, I do believe they have.
Okay. Could you tell us a little bit about what happened, if you know, and how
Yeah.
the company addressed it?
Well, I wasn't there, but from what I understand, we had checked into a vertical ID, which was presented that stated that the person was not over 21, and we missed it and sold to that person.
Okay.
Since then, we've instituted sort of a two-pronged effect, both policy and training. So the first prong with policy is that we no longer accept vertical IDs from anybody. The second, as far as training, we are now, an organization that requires all employees to be tip certified upon being hired, and if they're not, then we give them 30 days to acquire that, and we even pay for the 6-hour course that it takes for them to get that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you had the incident happen, and you believe that the company has learned from it, it's going to implement some of these measures if this license is issued?
I do, yeah.
Okay. Just for our benefit, tell us about tips, what that is, and who in your company is going to be required to get that.
So it's an alcohol safety class, which touches on both law and just general judgment and awareness of providing safe alcohol service and sell. Any of the service members in the front of the house that will be coming into contact, basically anybody that somebody could order a beverage from, alcoholic beverage from, will be required to get this certification.
Okay. And I think you mentioned if this license is issued, they'll have to do that within 30 days
Correct.
in Littleton?
It's our goal to try to have everybody 100% certified by the time they start working with us.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about the concept. What kind of restaurant is Bacon Social? What kind of alcohol would you serve along with this license application?
Absolutely. We're Bacon Social House, so we're full service, specializing in bacon and bacon-centric dishes. We do serve spirits. We serve liquor, wine, and beer. That's it, full bar.
Okay. Do you have a focus on brunch or any different menu items?
We're known for brunch. We're trying to also be known for dinner. But sometimes the public tells you who you are. So yeah, our focus is all 3 day parts, breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you know what your anticipated hours would be?
Yes, 7:30 a.m., and we will seat Sunday through Thursday until 9 p.m., Friday and Saturday until 10 p.m.
Okay. I think the authority has a copy of your floor plan on file. Could you just describe to us a little bit, what does this physical layout look like? There's 2 floors.
Absolutely.
Tell us what's going on.
So you walk in the first floor, you've got the U-shaped bar, which is sort of the focal point of the restaurant, creating, energy and, positive dining experience. When you head upstairs, there is a rooftop bar, approximately 65 seats total, with 13 being at the rooftop bar.
Okay.
Yeah.
So where are folks able to get a beverage from? Is it at the bar and table service?
Bar and table service, as well as we have a lounge that is upstairs, which I guess would qualify as table service.
Okay.
Yeah.
Based on the floor plan you submitted, do you believe that your staff's going to be able to monitor this whole area for alcohol compliance?
I do.
Okay. Where are you going to store alcohol? Where's the
We have
inventory?
underneath the stairs here is a locked liquor cage, or locked liquor room.
Okay. And is that only accessible to your employees?
Yes. The managers only have the keys, so it'll be locked at all times.
Okay. Do you know how many folks you'd plan to hire at this location?
Roughly 70 between full and part-time.
Okay.
Yeah.
And would you have managers? Tell us kind of what type of employees would you have?
Absolutely. The structure for the back of the house, as far as manage it, is culinary manager, assistant culinary manager, as well as a lead. So 3 there, and then front of the house would be general manager, service manager, and a beverage manager, as well as myself, with oversight.
Okay.
Yeah.
Will you have ultimate responsibility for all the employees at the location?
Yes.
Okay. I think this is in the application, but just tell us who owns Bacon Social and what that individual's interaction is with the business.
Sure, it's David Dill. Yeah, he's owned Bacon One for 3.5 years. He's the owner as well as an operator. Not so much as myself, but he is involved.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would you work with Mr. Dill on compliance and operations and everything happening at this location?
Yes, yes.
Okay. I'm going to ask you a little bit about the needs and desires for the license.
Sure.
Did you hear Ms. Carroll's testimony about the petitions?
I did.
Okay. Do you think that the 136 in support, those petitions from folks in the neighborhood shows that there's a need and desire for this license?
I do.
Okay. Have you been able to familiarize yourself with the neighborhood? Do you think that this would be if this license would granted, would it be a good fit for the neighborhood?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about why you selected this location and,
Well, I wasn't part of the selection process, but talking to Mr. Dill, I think its proximity to the downtown area and its development as far as creating sort of a unique buzz for the city of Littleton. I think he thought that it was a good fit, to put it simply.
based on your knowledge, do you think it'd be a good fit as well?
Yes.
Okay. Have you heard any positive or negative feedback from any residents or businesses in the area?
Mostly positive. We're excited that everybody's excited that we're coming into the neighborhood. I think not only from the guests that have been emailing me, but from the staff that has come in and stated that they've been waiting for us to open for a long time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Has anyone on the flip side reached out to you and said, we oppose this license, we think it's bad for the neighborhood, or would be negative?
No. No.
Okay. No one's contacted you?
No.
Okay. Do you personally think that there is a need for this license in the neighborhood?
I do. I do.
Do you personally think that there's a desire for the license by residents and other businesses?
Yes.
Okay. I have no further questions. I'll turn you over to the authority.
Thank you. Mr. Wilson, do you know Mr. Dill personally?
I do.
You work with him?
Yes.
And you believe he is a person of good moral character?
I do. I do.
Are there questions from the authority?
I have a couple. How many people will you be able to seat in the restaurant?
It's right around 200.
200?
Yeah,
That
130
includes
down.
both levels?
Yeah, 130 down, 65, 70 up.
You can have entertainment in the restaurant?
It's in the talks, maybe something small, 1-2 person string band, really mellow, yeah.
Sound system on that rooftop bar?
There is, it matches the rest of the sound system in the building, nothing amplified.
And I'm not familiar with the building. Is there parking in the building there?
We have, with the community building, the apartments next door, we have 75 dedicated spaces for Bacon Social House.
We have like valet parking or something like that?
That's definitely on the topic of conversation.
The 2017 incident at the first location, was there a penalty assessed for that?
Yes, there was.
And what was that?
I don't recall. As I said, I wasn't there. From what I'm told, there was a fine, and the employee was terminated.
And I apologize. I know you explained some of this. I may be asking you to repeat. Was that part of a sting operation?
That's what I understood.
Okay. And then I believe you said there were a couple things you put into place after that. And the first one is something about there's some sort of ID that you don't take anymore?
Right. So if you're a minor, generally you have a vertical ID.
Vertical. That's what you said. Okay.
Right. So we don't, as a policy, we don't accept vertical IDs.
Thank you. I appreciate that clarification. And are you exclusively responsible for this location, or do you work between the two?
I do work between the two, but as of right now, we do not have a general manager, so that's me.
Questions on here, Tobin?
Yeah. So you mentioned this TIPS program. It's a certification.
Right.
Do they have to be recertified? Is there, how do you keep reminding people of these requirements over?
I believe it's every 5 years that somebody has to be recertified.
Okay.
So not only is that part of our onboarding checklist as an item to be checked off whether you have it or you do not, but we will be following up.
And so if they fail to be recertified, then they're terminated? I mean, you give them
Yeah.
30 days and you say,
Right.
sorry, if you don't have this, you can't work here,
Or you can't work in a position where you're serving alcohol.
serving alcohol, right? Got it, thanks.
When do you plan to open?
Last week of May.
Do you have outside seating beyond the upstairs?
There is a patio that's right along the road, which by ADA compliance, we have to have available since we don't have an elevator. So there's about, I think there's 16 seats scheduled for there.
Do you plan on serving alcohol out there?
Yes.
This diagram says rooftop bar and dining. Is it all enclosed? Is it,
Yes. Yes.
the whole second level is enclosed?
Yes.
Okay.
That outside seating that you mentioned, there's some sort of a gate to
There's a-
prevent?
Yeah, there's a rail and a
Okay.
gate, yeah.
All right. Any other questions for the witness? Okay. Seeing none, you may be excused.
Thank you.
Thank you.
At this time, we will open the public hearing at 7:20. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak on behalf of or opposed to this applicant? Please, you can, oh, sorry, I can. Pam Chadbourne?
My name is Pam Chadbourne. I live a block and a half from here, and therefore I'm kind of close to this location. And I'm one of those people who oppose the construction of this building. I'm going to point out that a concern that I have is that this restaurant, as built, I believe, violates our code for a sight triangle, that's SIGHT, for pedestrians or cars coming from Bemis and Littleton Boulevard. Any structure that's in that corner is not supposed to intrude too far so that cars can see the other intersection, the other cars on the other intersecting road. And I believe this building, as built, violates our sight triangle. And you know, there's pedestrians there. And they're talking about serving alcohol. The city has put in, I think, a flashing crosswalk there, or some kind of crosswalk. But this building never should have been built in violation of our code. And I don't like that. And I don't know what you can do about that as the liquor authority or the licensing authority. But I don't think this place should be there. It is a business, and if it was set 15 feet further back, fine, but it's not compliant with our code. Thanks.
Thank you.
I would just speak to that. I think that's not within the purview of this board to consider planning and zoning and those sorts of issues. That's not an issue that's addressed here. If those issues were addressed Planning Commission or with design staff or Board of Adjustment or something like that, that's the appropriate forum for those things to be addressed.
And is there a zoning aspect to licensees, though, that they have to go through before they even come to us? Separate from the building itself, I don't know.
That's all done through the permitting process, and they do submit a site development plan. My assumption is this was probably done as part of the larger build in anticipation of businesses going in, the dental office that is there, and other things.
All of that would have been considered by, another board and city staff and make sure that they complied with all of the zoning, the building requirements. There's certain requirements for downtown Denver that it have a certain look, or downtown Littleton, that it have a certain look and things like that. So that would have probably been Planning Commission or Board of Adjustment if there was any departure from that.
And that, I'm going afield a little bit, but that was separate from the initial approval for construction at that location. My understanding was that construction was able to go forward under, it wasn't the normal planning process in the city that has a lot of involvement with various boards and commissions, there was some sort of an administrative approval.
I don't know the process that went through. I was not here at the time.
And
but
again, my recollection is imprecise, but I have some familiarity with the opposition to that building, and that it did go up more quickly than a lot of the neighbors anticipated, and there was some concerns about that.
Yeah. But again, it's not within the purview of this board to make those decisions, so.
Understood. Thank you.
Any other questions for the city attorney or on that matter? We are still in public hearing. Is there anyone else that would like to speak in favor to or opposed to the licensed or licensee applicant? Seeing none, we will close the public hearing at 7:24. I will entertain a motion.
You read from something, and I was trying to find that to make the motion. Is that in my packet?
Yes.
If you'd like to make it.
Yeah, let
I
me
will.
borrow. Thank you. Okay.
Towards the bottom.
Yeah, all right. So I make a motion, I move that the public hearing be closed and that a resolution for the Littleton Licensing Authority be approved, which grants Bacon Restaurant Denver LLC DBA Bacon Social House at 2100 West Littleton Boulevard, Suite B, Littleton, Colorado, a hotel and restaurant liquor license contingent upon approval by the Colorado Liquor Enforcement Division and based upon the following findings of fact. 1, that notice of the hearing was properly posted and published. 2, that the applicant has possession of the premises and the premises are suitable for the requested license, and that the needs of the neighborhood, 3, the needs of the neighborhood are not being met. 4, that it is the desire of the adult inhabitants of the neighborhood that the liquor license be issued. 5, that the existing similar liquor licensees in the designated neighborhood are not adequate. And 6, the applicant is of good moral character, record, and reputation.
Second.
We have a motion by Authority Member Tobin. Sorry.
That's fine.
And a second.
I don't
by
even remember your
Authority
name.
Member Schock. Will the clerk please poll the authority?
Chair Levere,
Yes.
Authority Member Amon,
Yes.
Authority Member Buchanan,
Yes.
Authority Member Fallenweider,
Aye.
Authority Member Schock.
Yes.
The vote is 5 in favor. The motion carries unanimously. Congratulations.
Good luck.
Good luck. Moving on, we are on to item number 8, which is reports. Staff, any monthly reports to discuss?
Besides the monthly reports that are included in your packet, one of the items listed in there talked to a joint meeting with City Council at breakfast on May 17th. That meeting has been canceled as of now. They're looking to reschedule it. It is my understanding it is going to be a joint meeting with Council and the Police Department. Our Police Department is in process of beginning to conduct compliance checks again. And so we're thinking that it's a good opportunity for them to start. They haven't done them in years because we haven't had staff. And so they want to kind of get that process moving again. And then they will meet with the authority and council to kind of cover some common ground. And so we'll let you know when that gets rescheduled. In the interim, if there are certain items that you really want to be addressed either by the police department or council, please email me. Email me directly. Don't email everybody because that could constitute a meeting if you're doing group emails. I did want to let you know that we are not going to have a meeting in May. We don't have any business at this time. We will meet in June. Council is conducting interviews on the 21st of May to fill remaining vacancies for boards and commissions. We do have one vacancy on our board. Hopefully, after those interviews, we will have a full board. We will meet in June. If we do not have any specific business, we will do a study session at that time. We will do some orientation for our new members, and then Mr. Godek will do some legal liability training for the board as part of a study session. So again, if you have any specific questions, things you want to know clarification on, be prepared to bring those questions to that training session. Mr. Godek does a prepared training, and he pretty much covers everything, but you might be able to stump him. And then and then one of the things I was hearing tonight, and that we've talked about a little bit in past meetings, is some concerns about how our boundaries are drawn up for needs and desires. And we don't have a specific algorithm, if you were, for that. And I think that that's something that years ago we used to do kind of an email poll of the authority to see if you agreed or not. And then about 5 years ago, we passed a resolution that it would just be up to the clerk's office to be based on what we used in the last similar license in that location. I think that possibly at our study session in June, it's something we might want to address. In the interim, I will do some research on how municipalities of a similar size to ours do it. Is it a half a mile? Is it a mile? Is it that kind of thing? Keep in mind that we're never going to have a set number of signatures required because we can't guarantee that. And so if you have thoughts about another way that we can handle that, please bring that to the meeting as well. Okay? And then I did want to take a real quick moment, and I apologize for not doing this at the beginning of the meeting, to welcome and introduce our new members. We have Michael Amon, who will be serving as our alternate one. Tonight he's a voting member because we're down 2 members. And then Tobin Fallenweider, who is a regular member of the authority. And thank you both for jumping in tonight and participating. And if you have any questions, you know how to get a hold of me.
I do have one question on the reports.
Yeah.
I assume State LED is a license enforcement division or
Liquor
something?
enforcement.
Liquor.
Yep.
Did I say light? I meant
Yeah.
liquor.
State liquor enforcement.
Yes. And then the LPD is obviously the Littleton Planning Department. Right?
Littleton Police Department.
Okay, so LPD is, okay. Well, you know, acronyms. I come from the state, we have lots of acronyms, so.
Yes.
But I wasn't familiar with these. Sorry, thanks.
Just want to comment on the boundaries. From my perspective, the boundaries are fine. I never thought about how they're calculated, if there's different ways to do it. I think one of the things that we've been, and the petitioning services have finally been getting, is they've on occasion have gone out and surveyed neighborhoods that are at the extreme edge of the boundaries and not getting the people right around. And that's, particularly this last one, I'm glad they went right around that neighborhood, because I know how, if we had had one, I would have been concerned if all the signatures were from the very edge of the boundaries and not right around that particular building.
Agreed. I think that's also something we can talk about. We have to be sensitive to whatever their policy and procedure is. However, we can, as an authority, come up with policies and procedures of our own and let these petitioners know that our requirement is that they start at the middle.
Sure, like a best practice, that if
Correct.
possible, as close as you can, because those are going to be the people that are most directly impacted by
Absolutely.
the licensee there. Okay, thank you.
I do have a question for the other board members who've been, and maybe we do this in another session, is what is sufficient? Have you run into an issue where you felt like there wasn't enough signatures, like the number? It's really just a location.
It's about proving needs and desires, and you can prove needs and desires theoretically with a minimum number of signatures. We might start questioning and we might delay, but we've not run into that issue before. Okay. We might run into that issue if the applicant is doing the petitioning themselves. There's no requirement that they retain a service to do it for them. But we do have, I think, templates and documents that we do help applicants do that on their own. And the clerk's been very good about providing guidance in those situations.
And just perspective, since I've been on the Littleton board, we haven't turned anybody down because it's a very broad standard that they have to meet. And you see, if you look closely at those surveys, there are several people that say they're opposed to it, but then they have to have the correct reason to be opposed to it, which is the needs and desires in the community. So they discount, and there were only, like that last one, there were 5, but they discounted all of them.
But 4 of them said they don't drink, and that's
Yeah,
not.
and that under the law is such.
Correct.
I used to serve in the Englewood Liquor Board, and that's the one, we had one where we voted no, and it was the Kmart. They wanted to do a pharmacy one.
Oh, really?
No, it wasn't, maybe it wasn't the
The old
Kmart.
Kmart
It was somewhere near there, and the local people went to the clerk's office, and they provided them the template for this, and they went around their local neighborhood, and they had a bunch of signatures opposing for appropriate reasons, so that gave that board something to hang their hat on.
For the clerk, perhaps in the study session, do we provide the same support for someone who comes in and wants help petitioning against an applicant?
I would think that we would. We have never had that happen. I was just going to offer that in the 7 years I've been doing this, I have not had one person call me, email me, come in to say, I don't want this license issued. And when each premise, you'll note from the signs in your packet, each one does have a statement at the bottom that remonstrances need to be brought to the clerk's office prior to the hearing. They know how to get a hold of me, they know where I am, and in 7 years, we have never had one person.
Well, the biggest liquor license that was opposed was the Safeway at Mineral, and that was about 10 years ago.
2007
And
or?
they filled the room,
That still got issued?
and it still got issued, yes.
Similar to,
I was not on the board at the time, but I was in the audience.
the only thing we had people show up for on either board I've ever served on was medical marijuana. Well, and we haven't really dealt with it here, but in Englewood, that was the one to get people out.
Yeah. Thank you for your perspective. It's really helpful.
Sure, oh, yeah.
Yeah, and thanks for jumping in.
Appreciate you guys. Yeah, I mean, you guys jump right in and ask questions. That's great.
All right, well, that brings us to the end of the meeting. We are adjourned.